I mean, yeah, so, there you go.
So, yeah. All right, here we go. Welcome to the semifinals of the Star City Games Open Series Legacy portion at the Invitational here in Indianapolis. I'm Gavin Verhey. I'm joined here by Adrian Sullivan. So, the two decks in front of us. On your right, Thomas Ma, top-end Pro Tour Amsterdam, I believe Colorado native, and he's playing the Hive Mind deck. This deck got second last week at Grand Prix Providence, and the way it works is you put Hive Mind out, which is a wonky little card. Whenever you play a card, everybody else plays a copy of that card. So when you play Hive Mind and you play a Pact, one of the packs from Future Sight, that say you lose the game unless you pay a cost, then you play a Pact, your opponent gets to take their turn first, they can pay the cost, they lose. Of course, you can also just show and tell Emrakul into play, show and tell Hive Mind into play, so you can win really fast with that deck. On the other hand is Robert Graves with a rug list that's, let's see, Natural Order Rug. It's got 4 Forces, 3 Days, 4 Misstep as its counter magic. It's got some creatures, Natural Order, but I think it's going to be a little too slow. We feel like the Hive Mind deck is favored in this matchup. We'll see what happens,
I mean,
though.
looking at this list, I don't feel like my opinion changes at all.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's still just slowish creatures, a little bit of disruption. 4 Forces, I guess, are probably the scariest cards for Tama.
I mean, he has access to 8 blasts, and he can go Ancient Grudge on Grim Monolith, but that's a really weak sideboard in to try to get that mana acceleration.
Yeah, and there's only 3 monoliths, you know. So, Tama is in a good position here, but it's not an unbeatable one. We'll see how it turns out. If he mulligans, just gets some bad draws. Thomas Graves hits a Medallion Click early enough, that can change a lot. V-Click is pretty big in this matchup because you can cast it just at the opportune time, snag their Hive Mind right before they're going to cast it, presents a clock. Against these combo decks, Medallion Click is the card you usually want to see the most. So turn 1 Noble Hierarch, turn 2 Medallion Click is going to be a good way for Thomas Graves to help out. For the purpose of this match, we'll be calling Thomas Ma Tom Ma and Thomas Graves Thomas, just because that way it's easier for when you say what's going on, you have an idea for Tom versus Thomas. So Thomas Graves leads off with a Volcanic Island. Tom Ma, Island go, end step. Thomas Graves casts a Brainstorm. Looks like Thomas Ma is going to let it resolve. Let's see, looking at Tom Ma's deck, looking at his, see what changed from last week. He's got Slaughter Pact. I'm not sure that the one last week had Slaughter Pact. Intuition, yeah. I mean, not too much changed from the version that got second last week in the hands of Brian Elliott. So Thomas Graves plays a Brainstorm at the end of Thomas Ma's turn, untaps, and then casts a Noble Hierarch. Or looks like that Brainstorm might have been main phase. It looked like it was the end of turn, but it was in fact on his turn, and then he found a fetch land, played it, cracked it, played Noble Hierarch, shuffled away all those cards he put back on top. So Noble Hierarch will help accelerate him into something big. He could potentially put out Progenitus next turn with a Natural Order. See what Tom Ma's going to do here. Tom Ma plays a Polluted Delta, cracks it, going to get a land, then he's going to cast something on 2. Could this be a Grim Monolith? We'll find out. See what options he has here. Could be, could also just be trying to. No, I think Grim Monolith. That's card he's going to play on turn 2 most likely. Other cards like Ponder, Brainstorm, you'd probably crack your fetch lands afterward with those cards, so I think it's a Grim Monolith here.
Your prediction is correct.
Yeah, there's Grim Monolith for Tom Ma. So let's see, Thomas Graves dazes the Monolith, so Monolith down, and that's going to stunt his mana a little bit.
Go. Ponder from Thomas Graves.
All right. So, let's see.
Looks at his hand, the Green Sun Zenith possibly available to him from that Ponder. Maybe he's at a. I can't make out the other spell there. It looks like he's going to shuffle it away, though.
Okay, so shovels with that Ponder. So decides to, his Ponder's a little weak and weary, and so he will instead go Upon a Midnight Dreary and see what his top card is. See what he finds. And
you know, I know that there are some of the ladies out there that swoon when you do the Poe for them.
oh, really? Yeah. I've heard rumors about that too. Although I don't think she's watching right now. Let's see. Wooded Foothills comes down, and let's see if Thomas Graves is going to do here. Hart can always get in for 1 if necessary. Nope, just holds it back, representing a daze from his hard cast potentially. 2 are another model for Thomas.
That's threatening a potential kill. End of the turn, Brainstorm. Brainstorm digging 3 cards into his library, hoping that a good few cards will be in there. Maybe a helpful little magical librarian will give him exactly what he's looking for, and he can put back some stuff he wasn't interested in reading anymore.
I like it. I like
there
it.
We go.
Puts back a couple cards.
And then the Wooded Foothills shuffles away all of those no longer sought-after cards.
All right. Man, the Brainstorm Fetchland interaction is just such a cornerstone of this format. Brainstorm didn't see a ton of play before the fetch lands, but with the fetch lands, it's just absolutely insane.
I mean, I remember actually way back in the day, we kind of made fun of ourselves looking back for not running more Brainstorms. But when I look at the lists, there weren't very many shuffle effects. So, you know, we made fun of ourselves for not running the Brainstorms. But, I mean, without the shuffles, they're not that exciting. They're only good.
Right, I mean, Brainstorm isn't good when you're just casting it, drawing through, putting 2 back on top. I mean, it's okay.
Yeah.
But I mean, AJ Soccer wrote a whole article on playing Brainstorm. He said, you know, doing that is just, it's not exciting. It's not how you want to play your Brainstorms. You want your Brainstorms to be Ancestral Recall.
Yeah. I mean, the thing that you would often do is Brainstorm, then Impulse to get rid of those cards.
Sure.
But here's another Brainstorm at the end of the turn for Thomas Graves.
Yeah. So I see he has a Green Sun Zenith sitting in his hand. A couple Tarmogoyfs. Or no, that's a Natural Order. So he has a Natural Order. Potentially do it soon. Get a 10/10 Progenitus. Looks like he's going to put it back, though. Thomas Moss smiling. All my interactions with Thomas Moss indicated he's just a pretty happy guy in general. Similar to a Tony Chu who was eliminated last round. Just enjoys being here. Happy to be playing some Magic. He's playing High Mind in the finals, or in the semifinals of a Legacy event. What more could you want, right?
Awesome times.
6 mana, Wonky Johnny rare. So down comes Wooded Foothills. And Green Sun Zenith from Thomas Graves. For 0, going to go find a Dryad Arbor, most likely. And by most likely, I mean it has to, pretty much, unless he wants to fail to find. So Dryad Arbor comes out. And that means Thomas Graves is going to be in a pretty good position to Natural Order next turn if he wants to. Get Progenitus, but maybe Thomas Moss' combo can outrace that. It's not totally clear. We haven't really been able to get a good glance of Tom Ma's hand, so we don't really know if he has the combo. He could theoretically just have the combo on his next turn, but I don't know if we don't know if he has Hive Mind, if he's got packs.
In terms of fighting against the combo, Thomas Ma has 4 force from his opponent. Thomas Ma has 4 force of will and 4 pact of negation, and he can pay for a pact of negation on his upkeep if he needs to. I mean, it will turn down his Grim Monolith for a turn, but he can reset that if he gets to 4 mana.
Right. He can also pay for Summoner's Pact. The one that Thomas Graves would pay for Summoner's Pact. The one that he can't pay for, Pact of the Titan, or he's got Volcanic Island. Remember, he's red, so he can pay for Pact of the Titan. Can't pay for Slaughter Pact. That's the
one. He's got Underground Sea.
Does he have an Underground Sea?
He's got 2 Underground Sea.
No. Thomas Graves is his opponent.
Oh, Thomas Graves. I'm sorry. The Thomasness of this match made me confused.
The utter Thomasness. But yeah, so Thomas can pay for Volcanic Islands with a Pact of the Titan, for Pact of the Titan with Volcanic Islands, but Slaughter Pact cannot pay for that one. So that's a good one for Thomas Ma to have when he's going off. Let's see. So Thomas
Graves laying a Tarmogoyf.
No, Tarmogoyf from Thomas Graves.
He's big.
And let's see. Artifact, land.
sorcery, instant.
Instant, and
I don't think there are any creatures in the yard.
I don't think there are any creatures either.
So that's a 4/5 at this point.
Now, natural order could put a creature in the graveyard next turn.
Ancient Tomb. 1, 2, 3.
That seems like you get the magic
4,
number.
5, 6.
That's the
two
magic
mana,
number.
2 mana back.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hive Mind.
Hive
There's
Mind.
Now let's see what packs he has. Thomas can pay for the Pact of the Titan. Okay, there's Pact of the Titan. Thomas can pay for that one. And Slaughter Pact. Okay, that's the one he can't pay for. And Thomas Graves concedes. So yeah, once again, if he just had that Pact of the Titan though, Thomas Graves would be fine.
Yep.
He could just be like, okay, we'll pay for it, and then Thomas Ma would actually lose on his upkeep because
Yep.
he couldn't pay for it. So interesting little factoid there.
They're going to go to their sideboards now. Thomas Graves has Red Elemental Blast ×2, Pyroblast ×2, and I think he probably brings in the Mountain as just extra mana in order to be able to play against this. Maybe he... I mean, what do you think he goes for here? Go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna,
there we go, before we talk about that.
Well, I was just going to say, maybe a good way to find out about how to sideboard this way is if you check out Star City Games Premium, somebody from the top 4 of this event might be writing an article on how to play their deck coming up next week. If you don't have a Star City Games Premium account already, it teaches you so much about Magic. The greatest players in Magic write for StarCityGames.com, and on the premium side usually, you're going to want to read their content. If you don't have an account already, you're going to win 6 months right now. Here's how it works. We're going to ask a question, and on Twitter, you're going to answer the question with the hashtag SCG Premium. So just hashtag, which is the number sign, followed by SCG Premium. And if you answer correctly, you will be entered into a drawing, which we'll find out after the match who wins. Who wins 6 months of premium play.
One more time.
I have a question.
All right, you've got a great question.
Okay, so remember, you're going to respond to hashtag SCG Premium. So, going into this match, we didn't think it was going to be Thomas Ma that was going to be the one that was playing with this Hive Mind deck. In fact, we thought it was going to be his opponent, who had kind of a hard luck story this morning.
We'll say a deck malfunction.
A deck malfunction, sure. That's what mine has been called in the year before, it's a deck malfunction, where, a deck of his disappeared, and he had to suddenly get a legacy deck together last minute. Who was this player we thought was going to be playing in the top 4 instead of Thomas Ma? Who was that player? And they were playing blue-white. That might give you a small hint.
Well, we'll find out. If you know the answer, use hashtag SCG Premium, and you could win 6 months of Star City Games Premium. In the meantime, heading into Game 2, Thomas Ma, playing Hive Mind, takes down the first game. See what happens in Game 2. Looking at the sideboards, going back to the sideboard discussion, we'll try and answer it ourselves without any help from Star City Games Premium, see how close we can get. The blasts from Thomas Graves are clearly very important here. They can kill Hive Mind, although it's not as relevant because Thomas Ma is probably going to play Hive Mind and then instantly use the packs, but he can counter Hive Mind, which is extremely important. So 2 Red Elemental Blast, 2 Pyro Blast. Other than that, I don't know what Thomas Graves really going to bring in. He has access to Ancient Grudge, but it only kills the 3 Grim Monoliths. He can bring in Jace. Don't really think so. Relic, no. Jite only hastens his clock, doesn't do a ton. On the other hand, we have Thomas Ma, who I'm not sure he brings anything in. 4 Ravenous Trap, doesn't want those. 4 Mindbreak Trap, doesn't want those. 4 Leyline of Sanctity, I don't think he wants those. And 3 Engineered Plague, doesn't need those. So, yeah, I don't think Thomas Ma sideboards at all. He could just leave the sideboard on the side and gonna keep his main deck the way it is, I would imagine. We'll see if he can take down Game 2 and advance to the finals with his Hive Mind deck.
They always change. What is this noise?
So, Tom Ma looking right into the camera, pretty happy. Good to see a jovial player here in the semifinals. A lot of money on the line, a lot of points on the line, a lot of things that matter on the line, but these guys are just playing Magic, having fun. It's just like any other game. So it looks like Thomas Ma's opening hand. I see a Show and Tell, a Brainstorm, a Land, a Slaughter Pact, another Show and Tell. Thomas Graves, I see 2 Forces, a Jace. Is that 2 Tarmogoyfs?
Could very well be. I was at least two, I think 2 green guys.
Oh,
maybe a
Green
green
Sun
Sun Zenith, acting as a Llanowar elf, essentially.
Yeah. Just it's really versatile how it's really amazing how versatile that card is. For 1 mana, it's basically Llanowar elf. You get a Dryad Arbor. For 2, you can get a Noble Hierarch if that's what you want for some reason. For 3, you can go get your Tarmogoyf.
My friends?
You know,
Yeah.
and it just has a lot of versatility.
Talking about the great
And of course, it shuffles back in. You can get Gaddock Teague after sideboarding, although it doesn't look like Thomas has one. He can't cast it, doesn't have a way to hard cast it. So, Thomas Graves does not have access to Gaddock Teague in this matchup, which is worth noting. So, Thomas Ma untaps with this island. And passes the turn.
We have a Noble Hierarch here. Attack for 2 aggressively with the Arbor.
Dryad Arbor gives in there for 2. So interestingly, Thomas Ma did not choose the Brainstorm on his main phase, which I thought was pretty interesting. If you Brainstorm on your main phase, you could find a land to play that turn. Instead, he opts to Brainstorm in Thomas Graves' end step. Interesting play. Why do you think he waited till Thomas Graves' turn to Brainstorm there?
I mean, it could be that he has a fairly okay hand and he wants to get things done quickly. Next turn, Thomas Graves can potentially natural order for Progenitus, and he might have extraneous brainstorms to make it not such a big deal for him to toss 1 away.
Well, but I mean,
show and tell.
So there's show and tell. All right, so Thomas Graves' Force of Wills. Thomas Ma's got a Force of his own.
I mean, if you see right there, if he's going for this turn 2 play, he has to use all of the mana to actually have the opportunity to even get that brainstorm off. He can't do brainstorm and show and tell on this turn. He has to do one or the other.
Thomas Graves just looks like he's 1 turn ahead because he Green Sun Zenith for the Arbor. Sorry, that was my mistake. I saw 3 lands, so I was like, oh, that's weird. Thomas Ma didn't play a land.
Yeah, the Green Sun Zenith got you.
Yeah.
You know, when I first heard about that play, I thought it was better than it was. I thought it was like a super cheap rampant growth. But then I was like, oh yeah, it's a creature, so you can kill it. So it really is just like casting Llanowar Elf.
Very much like casting Llanowar Elf, except it's a Dryad instead of an Elf, I suppose.
A Llanowar Dryad or something.
Yeah. So, let's see what play is made here. So, Thomas Ma did not force a will back that show and tell. So, clearly he wasn't too concerned about it. I'm pretty sure he's got a Force in his hand. That's what like the middle card in Thomas Ma's hand is, right? Maybe that show and tell was just a bait card. Thomas also has another show and tell. So next turn he can just show and tell, and that'll force Thomas to use another counter spell.
I think I see a Jace in Thomas Graves' hand.
Okay. So Jace's still there, live and kicking. Thomas Graves cracks his Misty Rainforest, going up to 4 mana this turn.
Siding in that Jace for this matchup.
Interesting. I don't think a lot of players would sideboard in Jace. So there's natural order from Thomas Graves. He's going to crack his Dryad Arbor to the graveyard, send it away, and get a Progenitus to replace it.
You know, I actually think I like the natural or the Jace in this matchup because one of the things you can do is you can become a pseudo control deck. You can power out a Jace on turn 3.
And then just start Fade Sealing?
Yeah. Or start brainstorming and try to bury them under some card advantage while you set up your combo.
Sure. So Thomas Ma plays Save Traders, floats 2, plays another city, cast Show and Tell, floating 2, so it can't be dazed. Thomas says resolves. Thomas throws the card down that he wants to put into play.
I get to do it too?
Sweet.
What am I going to put into play?
Sweet. That's good. Emrakul, that's a good one.
What did you want to put into play? You got nothing? Oh, I'll play this Jace. Does he have... Or did he toss the Jace earlier?
You can't put Jason to play with.
Show and tell. It predates it. This is the same thing we were talking about with Pernicious Deed and with Nevin Nero's disc. Written before Planeswalkers were printed.
Okay, I think Thomas Ma just won. It's Annihilate 6, correct?
Annihilate 6 when you cast it.
But
sorry, when you attack with it.
But Jace just bounced that Emrakul, so that's game.
That's another reason to bring it in, right?
That's what you're bringing in to bounce the Emrakul, right? You have to keep in mind, Thomas Ma's deck is not just mono Hive Mind. You can just plop Emrakul down, and you want to be protected against that.
Yeah, and these hybrid combo decks, they have the second path, oftentimes because it can be hard to fight against both paths.
Yep, and so he just has 3 Emrakuls, 4 Show and Tells just hanging out, and you can just cast Show and Tell, put Emrakul on the battlefield, and normally that'd be enough, except that Jace from Thomas Graves was enough to seal the deal. So
in the background, we can see the recent Grand Prix champion,
James Rikowitz.
That's right. Watching onwards.
Huh.
He's watching the match between Kyle Kloster and Scott Muir, or I'm not sure how to say it, Muir?
Scott Morris, that sounds about right. But on the other side of the bracket, the Merfolk deck in the hands of Scott Muir against Reanimator in the hands of Kyle
Kloster.
Kloster, yeah.
Now what
Closter.
One of the things to note, now we think that the Merfolk list probably has an advantage to begin with, but this Merfolk list doesn't just have a aggro control shell, it sideboards 4 Relic of Progenitus.
Right, so that's going to make things even rougher for Reanimator, because not only does Merfolk have all the disruption, but it just has a 1-mana way to control the graveyard.
They are going to Game 3 in that match, by the way.
Oh man. So they're both going to Game 3, huh? Exciting stuff going on here.
Yeah.
So
It reminds me.
So Thomas is going to be on the play this game. We still feel like Thomas has the advantage in this matchup?
Which Thomas?
Fair. All right, Thomas Ma.
Okay.
I mean, Thomas is going to be on the play.
I think that Thomas Ma has the advantage in the matchup, and particularly when he gets to go first.
I agree with that. Looks like Ancient Tomb saw Hive Mind in Thomas Ma's opening hand.
I mean, he can actually win on turn 2.
Yes, with Show and Tell.
No, even no, with City of Traders. City of Traders into Grid Monolith. Next turn, Hive Mind.
Sure.
And then
that way too. Yeah. I mean, Show and Tell works also, but yeah, that's the more tricky way to do it. Turn 1 City of Traders, you play Grid Monolith. That's insane. The mana acceleration from that time of Magic was just absurd. 5
oh
mana,
my God.
5 mana.
It was ridiculous. It was totally ridiculous.
Grid Monolith is just a ridiculous card.
Absolutely.
Like, first of all, it just gives you more mana than it costs to play. Okay. And it sticks around in a sense that you can untap it. But, you know, you play it on turn 2, you untap, you have access to 5 mana. You play it on turn 1, you untap, you have access to 5 mana.
Yeah.
It's insane.
One of the decks that was that came out when this deck was created, Patrick J. deck is one of the names for it. But basically what it would do was go turn 2 off of 2 islands, Grim Monolith, and then turn 3, cast Morphling with blue open. And then Morphling basically being safe from almost anything that could happen to it. And then follow that up with untapping and casting counter magic for the rest of the game until you're dead.
Back in the days when Morphling was insane, right?
Back in the days when Morphling was insane.
So Thomas Graves mulligans down to 6 cards here with his rug deck, and he keeps. Thomas Ma goes turn 1, crack, fetch, ponder, and Thomas Graves responds with a mental misstep.
Yep. Still looking for the island. There's a friendly shortcut here, which is totally reasonable.
Super fast mental misstep from Thomas Graves, and Thomas Ma is like, okay, fine, you got my ponder. Tropical Island from Thomas Graves.
And he really wants to lay either a Green Sun for 1 or a Noble Hierarch, or just some kind of acceleration here. That's the best play that he can do in this turn 2 here.
That mull to 6, though, did not give him the acceleration he was looking for.
Ancient Tombs go, which is not exciting for Thomas Ma either.
Right. Well, it's possible he's trying to get another mana to play around Days if he's got Show and Tell. I can't make out exactly what's in his hand. I think he's got another Ancient Tomb. Yeah, he has another Ancient Tomb. He's probably really counting on that Ponder on it.
The fetching here for Thomas Graves, getting a Volcanic Island.
Volcanic Island down. And caps 2. Here comes Tarmogoyf. So Tarmogoyf down for Thomas Graves. That Tarmogoyf is currently a 3-4 already thanks to Ponder, Mental Misstep, and the 2 fetch lands in the graveyard. Thomas Ma draws. Draws City of Traders. Got plenty of colorless mana. And let's see. Okay, there's an Ancient Tomb. So another Ancient Tomb. Thomas Ma has access to 5 mana this turn. So he's got Intuition in his hand. And a Hive Mind too. And he's got Pact of Negation backup. So Thomas can go end step here, Intuition for maybe triple Pact is what he's looking for. Because he has Pact of Negation to back up the see what he does, but
takes 2.
And here comes Intuition.
Here comes Intuition.
And Thomas is gonna blast it with a Pyroblast.
Okay.
Intuition goes away.
Untap. Untapoo.
And he draws another City of Traders. Plenty of colorless mana floating around for Thomas Ma. So he plays Volcanic Islands and just passes the turn back. I think his only pact right now is Negation. So he doesn't just want to run that out there. Let's see. Draws Brainstorm. Okay, maybe that'll help him out. Thomas Ma sitting at 11 life with under 2 Ancient Tombs, though. He's running out of time quickly. Do you think you could brainstorm with Thomas Ma here? Do you think you go for Hive Mind?
I need to see more of Thomas Ma's hand to make that.
I think his hand is Pact of Negation, Hive Mind, Brainstorm, and one other card, and lands. I think
the City of Traders.
Okay. So 1 mana Brainstorm. Misstep from Thomas Graves.
These are actually really backbreaking.
Yeah, those missteps on the 1-drops change a lot. So you can just run out Hive Mind if you want here. If you're...
I mean, you might consider running it out, and then here's the thing, right? If you put it out there and it resolves, then Thomas Graves casts a spell, and you Pact of Negation it. That could kill
that would kill him, yeah. I'm kind of surprised that he didn't go for the Hive Mind. I mean, I can see his logic why he didn't, because like Pyroblast really messes with him there.
Absolutely.
I mean, he can get Pact of Negation, I guess, if he is. So it, but
Noble Hierarch is now in play, making that +1 on the Tarmogoyf. City Traders tapped. Another City Traders tapped. 4 mana, 5 mana, 6 mana.
All right, here's Hive Mind. Let's try it.
Here it comes. This is beginning of the end of this. The beginning of the end game.
All right, so
Hive Mind.
Hive Mind. Force from Thomas, and he has to pact it. But so he's got no other pact in his hand. So the way this works is Thomas Ma has to draw a pact this turn.
Attack.
All right, Thomas Ma dead next turn. He has to pay 5 for the pact. So he goes to 1 life, I believe, because of that Ancient Tomb. Takes 2 to pay for his pact, and now he
Here it is.
has to draw a pact off.
Let's see what's on top.
Library.
What do we got?
Fluted Delta. That's
it.
That's it. Thomas Graves defeats Thomas Ma 2-1, putting his no rug deck, the deck that Reed Dukas championed, the deck that Todd Anderson has championed, into the finals of this event. He'll play against either Merfolk or Reanimator.